Humans of the Cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I really want to talk about the brand new type to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it kind of caught me off guard. I know some people had theorized it, the first new set of a new series, back way ago, we got Cybers as a new type at the beginning of like the Link era and stuff like that. So it kind of made sense that this could have been a possibility. This just isn't the possibility I was considering. Illusionist is the type. It seems a little bit odd. I'm not fully sure what the situation is, but just want to talk about and get my thoughts out on the new type overall. So the first and foremost thing, if you don't know, the first reveals for this type are part of the mythical beast, the Gazelle and Baphomet retrains from, classic Battle City, and I think maybe even DM he appears as well. Yugi's deck. It's a Yugi little mini sub-archetype, so that's why people like it, of course. That's cool. That's all fine and good. But then they just kind of also splash in the fact that there's a new illusionist type added to the game. And I think my biggest thing here that I want to put at you guys that I want to see more than anything is that Konami just goes through with it. I think when I first saw this, I was kind of nervous that Konami would do this thing where like this just becomes the mythical beast type, and that's it. It's just like part of this lore or whatever, just part of this deck, and we don't see it come up anywhere else. Now they did announce this card this morning, which gives me a lot of hope that like this card's like way later in the set numbers. It just seems like a generic card, but it's an illusionist type. And that's kind of what I want to see, is Konami just go through with it and just like really flesh it out. I mean, we saw how much Konami fleshed out Cyber, so it doesn't even necessarily need to be that deep in how far they go to flesh it out. But I mean, just give it enough stuff. Don't make this pretty much like solidified to exactly the mythical beast archetype here. Actually give it its own stuff. So, yeah, most of it's archetypal or just this pretty poop generic card. And so I hope they kind of get their own stuff and maybe Illusionist becomes a deck you can play down the line. But, I like it. There's some other concerns I had as well. Cybers felt like it at least had like a pattern and like a direction. You could argue it wasn't as concrete as it could have been. But, once you get enough types in Yu-Gi-Oh, you're like, what new concrete type makes a ton of sense and like would be distinguishable from every other type. Cybers has a little bit of machine-like-ness to it, a little bit of psychicness to it. So it's like, okay. But then you get to these, and these are just anything. And the way they describe it when these came out was, what are these? See, illusionist type in video games and localized as illusionist or dream. So like almost like fantastical creatures, I guess, kind of what they mention here. It's generally used to cover mythical monsters, reality warpers, and even hypnosis and illusions. So mythical monsters here, I mean, these aren't illusionists, at least. These are still their own thing, so at least they didn't throw those in. But like, this guy is just a freaking lizard. Like, this should just be a reptile, probably, and this should just be a warrior, probably. So they just kind of make him illusionist, and that's kind of what's a little bit odd to me. This seems like the least concrete, maybe even next to like psychic, but even psychic seems like it could have a little more viability than this in terms of like defining what its monster type is. This could just be literally anything, and they're like, oh, but it's it's a mythical creature-ish. Like, if a knight can just be a mythical creature, then like anything can be a mythical creature, right? So it's a little bit up in the air there. And also, Cybers was also so tied to Link summoning and all that stuff. So it was like very, they were very direct on the role and like the purpose of Cybers. Like, the only thing that we can tell so far from the illusionist type monsters is this text right here. So far, I think all three monsters have this kind of text. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battle involving this card. That includes themselves, which is nice. It means they can't be destroyed by battle. But also, you can't walk over any opponent's monsters as well. So that's interesting. You're going to need other win conditions aside from attacking directly for game in most scenarios, unless you just have enough removal to kind of clear the whole board. Which is strange. So, I don't know. That seems just a little bit weaker. Like, it's not like Cybers had an inherent thing that they were just inherently always summoning Link monsters for the most part. And so it felt more inherent to them. This one is just every single... Are they just going to put this line of text on every single illusionist monster that they ever make? I don't know. But I'm very curious to see where they go with it. So I'd like them to really like nail down some illusionist stuff. Like I said, this came out later in the set and we still have like 15-ish cards to be revealed for the set. So they could absolutely sprinkle in a couple more illusionist monsters that just kind of start the train on it. Again, Cyberse didn't really take off for a while. Months and months, Cyberse like was really not playable because they just didn't have enough playable cards. But I'd like to see them come through and actually make like a full-on illusionist deck. I love archetypes, or types specifically, like Cyberse, like machines. What's another good example? Like plants that just, if you took all the best cards that are generically playable in that type, you could make like a, plant good stuff deck, machine good stuff, Cyberse good stuff deck. And I want to see that for illusionists. Those are my favorite types in the game generally. So I would love to see that come to fruition here. But yeah, that's mostly it. Just kind of trying to throw around some ideas, just get a little bit of discussion going on this stuff. I really want to know where you guys land on it. It's a cool new theme. I really hope it's not just kind of pigeonholed to like the mythical beast stuff and like everything's tied to this archetype. I want to see them like kind of make it generic, kind of flesh out in their own stuff, maybe make, a new illusionist archetype in the next set and kind of just keep rolling with it. And maybe after 2-3 core sets, we're kind of have enough to kind of actually start building, illusionist decks. Because this one is just like a resource looping engine that, isn't meta worthy. It doesn't seem so far, but like, depending on, what stuff they get down the line or, what other stuff they can pair with could be something, but it's not there yet. And I'd like to see like to be honest, the illusionist stuff to me is more cool than the like mythical beast stuff, to be honest. So that's just where I'm at. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below though. What do you want to see for this new type? What are your first impressions of this type? Where do they go from here? I don't know. I'd love to hear just where you guys land on it. But I'm out of here. Just want to throw that little discussion at you. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.